Hey everybody, welcome. Matthew here. We're going to take a look today at the Federal Reserve's balance sheet. This is a weekly balance sheet, in fact, going back all the way to the founding in 1913. They opened their doors at the end of 1914. The Federal Reserve's balance sheet at the time was a couple $100 million, as you see here. $350 million at April 1915. And today, if we roll out all the way, let's just zoom into the day of this recording. I don't have the actual weekly update. They release on Wednesdays, but this is from last week. $7.17 trillion. See a little bit of a blip here on the weekly balance sheet. It went back up, peaked here in the post-COVID massive monetary expansion. They didn't get their balance sheet up to $9 trillion, almost $9 trillion in mid-2022. Here was the Silicon Valley crisis, adding extra guarantees to banks here. They did print a little bit, but not much, March 2023, and they have been trying to contract or normalize, as they say, the balance sheet ever since. Here's how it looks big picture. One thing to say in general here, we can see that, of course, during the U.S.'s entrance of World War I, during the U.S.'s entrance of World War II, the balance sheet increased abnormally. It steadily increased during Vietnam. It didn't increase at such a crazy pace. Steadily increased during Vietnam and just through the Great Moderation. And then it really increased, as we see here, from the global financial crisis, where it went from under $1 trillion to $2.5 trillion in a matter of months. So if we draw a trend line over this, first of all, we understand that this is an exponential trend. Okay, I'm going to take the log scale off here. Looks crazy. Can't really make any sense of it, can you? Over 100 years, 100 plus year time frame. But on log scale, we see that it's a straight line. And a straight line on log scale simply means the growth is exponential. So I can give you a fixed rate of growth, and that will tell you the exponential growth of the Federal Reserve, which is 7.21%, which is the exponential fixed compound growth of the Federal Reserve's balance sheet over the last 110 years or so. So just to conclude, just to show you, that's if the Federal Reserve, the central bank of the United States, is increasing their balance sheet at 7.21% per year over the last 110 years, over the long scale of things, you got to ensure that your wealth is at least increasing by 7.21%. And as we see here with these exponential bands, they've taken it to crazy territory, right? This was very rare air when they took it to almost $9 trillion in 2022. Now, it's still well above the all-time trend at $7.2 trillion balance sheet, but we're not even at trend, okay? So we're still above trend. They say they want to keep cutting inflation, having interest rates high, although, we're in silly season with politics. So it's also a saying that the president gets the interest rate that they want from the Federal Reserve. So we'll see if they might drop rates here before the election. Regardless, the point is, you can see that from the global financial crisis, there's a lot of volatility. There's a lot of ups and downs, mostly ups into uncharted territory. And when we take into account the last 15, 16 years of the new monetary order that occurred after the global financial crisis, look at this period, the Great Moderation and even the Vietnam War. The balance sheet itself looks like it's under trend, okay? But the only reason it looks like it's under trend is because the trend has been lifted. It's been lifted up over the last 15 years. So when I told you this 7.21% compound annual growth rate, which is the growth rate of the Federal Reserve's balance sheet, it's actually much higher, closer to 10% in the last 15, 16 years. And even then some, if you look at the compound annual growth, even above that. Taking a moment to remind you that this show is brought to you by Trezor, home of the original Bitcoin hardware wallet. For over 10 years now, Trezor means business in Bitcoin security and functionality. When using their wallet software Trezor Suite to connect to the Bitcoin network, you're automatically connected via Tor, protecting your identity and giving you full control of your coins in a fully open source manner, both on the software level and on the hardware level. So head on over to Trezor.io to grab your brand new Trezor Safe 5 with a secure element, as well as a ton of available accessories to back up your keys and keep your coins safe. So 7.21% is really a conservative number, but this is the all-time number, and I like to try to take away the noise just to understand it big picture. Things are going to grow this way. Population grows at a compound growth rate. Your mortgage payment and the all-time interest that you will pay grows at a compound growth rate. This is exponential growth. This is how finance works. Stocks grow at 7%. With dividends, they grow around 9%. This is just what it is. The Federal Reserve's balance sheet over 100 years, 7.21%. But again, if you, even if you pick this below the trend line here in the early years, where you can see the trend line is about $2 billion, but the actual balance sheet, again, April 1915 is only $350 million. If you look at that growth until today, you're closer to 10%. So a lot of ways to play with the numbers. The trend is clear. You got to at least be making 7.21% on your assets for your family to keep up with what the Federal Reserve is doing. It's not 1%, it's not 2%, it's not whatever they tell you about the inflation rate. It's at least 7.2%, really closer to 10%. Let me know what you think of this in the comments. Thanks for watching.